Max one-on-one.
I've taken nearly every shady lady home. Got itchy feet under my skin. Well, I grabbed my rags and packed my bags.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Max One-on-One. In this opportunity I have the privilege to talk to Freddie Salem. He is a showman to me, right? He's a guitar player, he sings awesome. He was, he's very well known because he played in the Outlaws back in the 70s. He played with a lot of musicians. He has his solo career also with a bunch of solo albums. But today these are the interviews that I like to relax, and listen because Freddie has so many stories, Let's start. How you doing today?
Everything's good. Everything's good here in beautiful Los Angeles. And where are you, Max? Where are you located?
I'm in Washington, D.C., but for the past 17 years, I'm originally from Argentina.
Ah, very good, very good. Everything's good today so far.
Awesome.
And I'm so glad that we could do this interview.
Me too, brother. Me too. And first of all, what are you up to these days? So do you have any new projects? Are you recording? I know you are a musician, so that's in your blood and your DNA. I'm sure you're every day like playing a little bit or writing a song. Tell me your whereabouts.
Well, I work in the primarily as a session musician for film and television as a guitar player, and
awesome.
I do that, and I've been working on my newest album, Freddie Salem Lonewolf, which it's a 2.5-year effort.
Wow.
Should be done by June, out by June.
Okay.
And I produce, and I'm in the music business.
I know.
And, that's what I do, and
yeah.
A little here, a little there, a little here, writing here, practicing here, a session here. Today I'm at Warner Brothers in Burbank on a film session.
Nice.
Till 11 o'clock p.m. this evening. So
wow.
This is a nice little break.
Yeah. How many solo albums do you have, right? Or at least 5 or 10,
well,
I don't know.
Well, the first album was Freddie Salem and the Wildcats. That was on Sony CBS, and then there were different little independent projects like Freddie Salem and Steel Justice. That was on Eurodisc in Europe, and this new project coming out, Lone Wolf.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of my prized efforts.
Nice.
Because I put so much time into it and just taken my time with the production and the writing, so on and so forth, and making it a universal music project, hopefully, in Europe and the States and Argentina and wherever else.
Yeah, nice. The Wildcats, that one. That's kind of quite heavy. I remember very well your guitars there. They're quite heavy, like you are a little bit above the hard rock music. You are putting some strength in there,
Yeah, I used some great players on that record. I used on drums Myron Grumbacher from Pat Benatar and Rick Derringer, and I used Fernando Saunders on bass from Jeff Beck and John McLaughlin, and Peter Wood on keyboards. Played with David Gilmour and Pink Floyd, and I had a great mix of aggressive musicians.
Wow, I love it. I
That's
love it. Let me take you back to the, when you started. So I know you started like, is it true you started with $500 in your pocket and a Les Paul when you were probably 18 years old?
When I moved to Los Angeles, yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
I came from Ohio, Akron,
Okay.
Ohio, which was a pretty good music town. But I moved to Los Angeles, and I had $500 and my guitar,
Yeah.
and I lived around 10th and Vermont streets, which was a little bit shady at the time, but
Yeah.
I think it's more shady now.
Yeah.
And by the time I was close to 19, I joined a band called the Chambers Brothers on Columbia Records. So
Wow.
I started touring then. By the time I was 19, I'd been around the world once already.
Wow. Is this like early 70s, late 60s? Tell me a little bit about it.
1971, 72.
Okay, awesome. Oh, I love it. I love it. So you kind of, as a teenager, you live all these kind of flower power, Woodstock, that kind of wave. Were you kind of into that, or a different kind of music?
Well, I was still in high school when the San Francisco flower power psychedelia was happening,
Hmm.
but I was more attracted to the blues.
Oh my God.
B.B. King, Albert King, Lonnie Brooks, Muddy Waters.
Wow.
That was my genre when I was in high school,
I love it.
and then of course Hendrix came out and Clapton, and
Oh
so
my God.
there was so much influence for a young guitar player back then, and so I had some good teachers, and then
Yeah.
of course still in high school the Allman Brothers came out. So the influences were not just one, but numerous.
Yeah.
And
What about Grateful Dead and that kind of music? Chinese Joplin. What were you into that music too, or?
yeah, yeah. I like. Don't get me wrong. I like them, and in fact, the Outlaws did a few shows with the Dead later on.
Wow, I love it.
I went to see all those as a young kid. I went to see Janis Joplin. I went to see Traffic. I went to see just an amazing amount of the music then. There was so much, and the thing is, all of it was good.
Yes, man. That's what I loved. 67. You, Freddie, you happen to live the best years of music, in my opinion. My humble opinion, right? 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm talking about rock and blues, well, probably blues, but in terms of recording, the quality of the recording, probably in the 50s, 40s, the quality wasn't that good. I mean, the music was awesome, but then it's like a explosion of music in the 60s with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and then Led Zeppelin and all these, all these, I don't know, explosion again of bands and different kind of music that you can choose as you are a kid in a toy store. You know what I'm saying? Amazing.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I was 12 years old when the Beatles came out, and then Eric Burdon and the Animals, and then the Stones, and then Herman's Hermits, and then the Yardbirds, and then I mean, like a kid in a candy store. You're 100% right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then let me take you a little bit farther now. What was your first big gig? Was with the Outlaws, or I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing well the name Outlaws, or it was another band where you started to be more kind of professional and have bigger audiences, watching your performances?
Yeah, that would be the Chambers Brothers was the first major gig that I'd ever had.
Okay.
And we toured the country, and we played big halls. We played the Fillmores. We played pop festivals, West Palm Beach, Atlanta Pop Festival. We played. We went out of the country to play. one of the most memorable gigs we played, two of them were in Colombia. And one was in Bogota at the convention center, and one was in Cali.
Cali, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, no, that's okay. I'm correcting you because I speak Spanish. So, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry, go ahead.
Me encantó la idea. But anyways,
me encanta la idea. Yeah, man, I gotcha.
Me encantó la idea. That's what it was. Anyways, but anyways, that was my first introduction to touring and playing in front of masses and recording. Okay, for a major label with the brothers, Chambers Brothers.
Yeah.
And then after that was different. As far as being a member, the next big thing was I had smaller little bands here and there, and toured with several large artists. But the Outlaws was the next step. A few years later, after Chambers Brothers.
That's where you opened for the Grateful Dead. I'm sorry, you know that the Grateful Dead, the name got stuck in the back of my mind. You opened for them, you said, or I'm sorry. Oh my God, that's amazing. Tell me a story about that. Have you happened to talk to Charlie Garcia, or or how were the guys? I know there was this beautiful
wonderful
community, of sharing and love. I love it, man. Like, right? Am I right or wrong?
Well, the crowd, yeah, definitely. The 80,000 people that are in the stadium, yeah. But no, the Garcia was wonderful guy, and Bob Weir. They were all, just hometown musicians, and that's what you find with the acts like that. Like when we toured with the Stones. The Stones, same thing. The star power's on stage, but off stage, this is what they do for a living, and they go to work every day, and they play the stadium, and they treated us all of these acts they treated us so well because we were similar. The Outlaws were similar to them. There was really no glitz or this or that. We were just musicians, doing our gig, and so we had good times with those acts.
What gig do you support? Do you open for the Rolling Stones? Do you remember what year was? Maybe.
Yeah, it was. One of them was 1978.
Okay.
At Anaheim Stadium in California, and it was 2 days. And it was 110,000 people per day.
Wow.
And they treated us like gold. And it was, they loved, as British players, learned how to play from American roots.
Yes.
And on the show was the Stones, the Outlaws, Peter Tosh, and Etta James. And it was a roots rock and roll show for 2 days, and it was a wonderful time. Wonderful time. But they'd invite us to their parties and this and that, and it was just like a Stone Soul picnic backstage, where.
And that's that is a young Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Charlie Watts. Bill Wyman. What a privilege to witness that in first degree, Freddie. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing this guy. I mean, you are a monster of rock and music, right? But also to see the Rolling Stones probably in the best, young kids, performing
in the world. Really wonderful.
Oh my God, I'm so happy for you that you could live that. But let me now go back towards you as an musician, because where do you learn all this? The way you perform live. That's one of the things that capture my attention the most. That you're a showman, that you give everything on stage. That and back in the 70s, like, oh my God, like so much power you deliver to the audience, from the stage. Where do you learn that? It's something that happens with experience, or it's something that you learn from other people, other big musicians, like you just mentioned.
I don't know if it's, as far as myself goes, it was just natural.
Wow.
There was no theatrics involved. There were theatrics when a few little theatrics when Billy, Huey, and I would get together. Mm-hmm. There were some moves, and in fact, there was one move that Huey and I used to do that Gene Simmons taught us. He said, he saw us at the Summit Coliseum in Houston.
Yes.
And he was backstage, and he was giving us pointers.
He's the king of theatrics,
Yeah, Gene's the best, of course.
Oh my God.
But there were a few things, but as far as myself, it was just kind of natural. Some rather awkward, but it's you don't really know you're doing it when you're on stage going through the motions. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's the thing that that I admire the most from you, like on stage and delivering all what you got. I know you're delivering 100%, if not more, on stage. And as an audience, I received that even through video, because I watched that on YouTube. But I receive it, man, and that's amazing. What a difference, right, from the old-time musicians, from the new ones that there's like probably more. They're not that. I don't know if you agree with me. Now everybody is into their phones. Everything's more individual.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it was more like an atmosphere, where everybody was connected, not through phones, but connected like in person, right? What do you think?
Mm-hmm. It's not a very personal situation these days. You're exactly right. People are on their phones, on here, on there, over there. Entertainers are, and it seems is rather, and the music industry goes through stages.
Yes.
Seems to be a rather sterile situation right now. Mm-hmm. As far as musicians go, I tend not to listen to the secular music. I listen to indie rock. I listen to Euro metal a lot. I listen to hardcore metal.
Wow.
I listen to fusion jazz. Whatever, it has spontaneity.
Yeah. Are you still a blues man?
Oh, yeah.
Love it. I'm a bluesman, man. I don't know. I have the blues in my blood too. I love all kind of musics, but is there any connection between blues and southern rock? You play both, right? Blues and southern rock.
Okay.
Is there anything that you find any similarities? Is that correct?
Well, southern rock was born out of the blues.
Okay.
And the Southern blues, the Delta blues. The wave was started by the Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
That made it popular anyway, and started a whole new genre.
Yes.
Of musicians and music and recording, and of course they were lived and ate the blues. Duane Allman, and Slide playing, and Greg Allman. It was. Without seeing him, you did not expect a skinny white boy with blonde hair singing like Elmore James or Robert Johnson or
Robert Johnson. My God, Muddy Waters. Oh my God, what a little boys there. Huge.
Well,
Huge.
that's what you are, Max. You're the boyish man, which was Muddy Waters, one of his big hits. Boyish man, but yeah, definitely was born out of a lot of blues, tinged Southern rock and roll for sure.
Cool. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that. Can you tell me a little bit about that show in 1981? Is that correct? In Germany with the.
Yeah, that's the Outlaws live at Rockpalast
Okay.
in outside of Frankfurt, Germany,
Yes.
1981, in Lorelei, Germany, at by Rockpalast, which is the German concert show. And they've been in business for over, I don't know, 40 years. They've done everybody from probably Pink Floyd to whoever.
Yeah.
And that was one of the shows. It was the Outlaws, and on the same show, but not on the DVD and CD, is Thin Lizzy.
Oh, nice. So this is a DVD that is out there. I can buy it on Amazon, for example.
Yes,
Cool.
it's a beautiful package.
Yeah.
They put together. It's a DVD and a CD.
Wow. Wow.
And you get the liner notes, and there's photos and everything. You will enjoy that.
Oh my God, I'm going right now to Amazon to buy it, man. So and that's the year 1981,
Yeah.
which probably that was your last year in the Outlaws.
Well, mid '80s. By then, we had lost Billy
Yeah.
Jones,
Yeah.
and he had left the band, and we had started a new album, and he left in the middle of the album. Things were just not going too well.
I got you.
Okay, until there was myself, Huey, Rick, and David Dix. We started with 2 drummers and 3 guitar players, but we made the best we could, and then
Yeah.
things started to change in the industry, and
Yes.
we had 9 albums out on Arista Records,
Yeah.
Clive Davis, and things started changing, and we eventually lost the record deal, and so that was pretty much it. But
Yeah.
so around '81, but Huey had another couple things. I worked with Huey for a little bit, but I did after the success we had in the business, and selling out huge concert facilities by ourselves and recording gold albums. I didn't want to revert back to. I didn't want to see the thing go backwards.
Mhm.
So I chose to bow out at that point. But Huey kept on and had some pretty good bands, but it was never the magnitude of what we were during that time.
But tell me any story that with any musicians out there that you remember.
Well, there were a lot of great moments, and I had some great jam sessions with Pat Travers when he was riding tall. Pat Travers band, and Molly Hatchet, and Chuck Leavell from the Allman Brothers.
Wow.
He would always come up on stage and play my song "Falling Rain" with me, and
Nice.
and he's been with the Stones for the past, I don't know, 25 years.
Wow.
He's their musical director, and
Yeah.
but we a lot of great
Memories.
memories and
Love it.
musical moments. And one time in Atlanta, a 13-year-old boy came up on stage. It wasn't the Outlaws. I was playing at a benefit with Joe Walsh and myself and Jimmy Hall and we were at this amphitheater, and this little 13-year-old boy comes up and plays slide guitar.
Oh my God.
That was Derek Trucks when he was a little kid.
Wow, amazing. Oh my God.
We
That's
were
amazing.
we were all in awe. We were laughing. And
Yeah, amazing.
now Derek's one of your most visible blues slide guitar players.
Yeah, man, unbelievable. Freddie, I want to thank you so much for your time. Man, it was a pleasure to interview you, man. Like, thank you for sharing all the stories. Thank you for sharing the music, and also want to thank you for all these years of music. You know, delivering quality, you know, and good taste in music. I really love your your art, if you allow me to call it that way, to your music, and you know, thank you so much for your time.
Max, you are the Argentinian rock god.
Thank you.
But thank you as well. Keep my number, and let's stay in touch, okay?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. All right. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, man. Thank you so much.
On Max One on One.